Hello there, a very good morning. This is the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. As always, we're ready with the details on this morning's top stories from here at home and around the world. You can stay tuned with us for the news in detail. With that, let's move on to the top local news item this morning. The deadline for depositing security bonds for the upcoming local government elections will conclude at 12 noon today. The National Election Commission has announced that the security deposits for the election can be made at the district election offices. The acceptance of bonds began on the 3rd of March. Meanwhile, the acceptance of nominations for the local government elections is scheduled to conclude tomorrow at 12 noon. The National Election Commission said that these activities are being carried out at district secretariats. Meanwhile, Acting Inspector General of Police Attorney at Law Priyanthavira Surya has instructed all police OICs, division officers as well as DIGs to immediately arrest IGP Deshabandhu Thenakone, whose service has been temporarily suspended by the Supreme Court. In a special announcement, he stated that the assistance of all intelligence officers should be obtained for this purpose. The acting IGP also says that necessary action should be taken against all individuals who aid and abet Deshabandhu Thenakone in hiding. Meanwhile, a house in Hokandara, Athrugiriya, allegedly belonging to Deshabandhu Thenakone, was inspected by officers of the Criminal Investigation Department last evening. Now, regarding the token strike that was launched by health sector employees yesterday, this token strike that was launched by 19 health sector trade unions will end at 7 a.m. today. They engaged in a strike from 7 a.m. yesterday, claiming that their allowances had been cut through the 2025 budget proposals. And as a result, patients at numerous hospitals across the island were severely inconvenienced. The strike was led by former President Ranil Wickremesinghe's Director General of Trade Unions and current UNP organizer of Kasbaba, Saman Ratnapriya, and Ravi Kumudesh, who contested the local government election, the general election from the United Democratic Voice Party. Now, 7 trade unions belonging to the Joint Council of Paramedical Professionals, including the Association of Government Medical Laboratory Technologists, the Society of Radiological Technologists Sri Lanka, the Pharmaceutical Society of Sri Lanka, the Sri Lanka Public Health Inspectors Association, the Government Dental Technicians Association, and the Family Health Services Officers Association, as well as 11 trade unions belonging to the Allied Medical Services Joint Front joined this strike. Now, due to the strike, the patients who visited multiple government hospitals across the island faced heavy inconveniences yesterday. Postal trade unions have begun distributing the backlog of mail that accumulated due to the postal workers' strike. Chintaka Bandara, convener of the Joint Postal Workers Trade Union Alliance, stated that approximately 1 million letters and parcels were piled up due to the 48-hour strike. Postal workers engaged in this strike, citing several demands, including the recruitment of employees to fill the current existing vacancies. Chintaka Bandara also stated that a clear solution has not yet been provided to mitigate this issue. On to your weather update this morning. The Met Department says that showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts after 2 p.m. today. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces, as well as in the Galle and Mathura districts. Several spells of showers may occur in the eastern and Uva provinces and in the Hambantota district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central, Uva and north central provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts during the morning hours. And as always, the general public is requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during these thunder showers. Let's move on to news overseas for this morning now. After 9 months in space, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams have finally arrived back on Earth. The SpaceX capsule made a fast and fiery re-entry through the Earth's atmosphere before 4 parachutes opened to take them to a gentle splashdown off the coast of Florida. A pod of dolphins circled the craft. After a recovery ship lifted it off the water, the astronauts beamed and waved as they were helped out of the hatch, along with fellow crew members, astronaut Nick Hague and cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. Steve Stitch, the manager of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, said the crew is doing great at a news conference. It brings to an end a mission that was supposed to last for just 8 days. It was dramatically extended after the spacecraft Butch and Suni had used to travel to the International Space Station suffered technical problems. NASA's Space Operations Mission Directorate said that it was awesome to have a Crew 9 home. Just a beautiful landing. Thanking the astronauts for their resilience and flexibility, he said SpaceX had been a great partner.
And performed its final burn, the deorbit burn. This placed the Dragon spacecraft on a trajectory toward Tallahassee, Florida. Dragon successfully re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, followed by deployment of its parachutes to slow the spacecraft down to a gentle splashdown. We're now going to follow the
Freedom. Hypergol sweeps and unfired ordnance checks are nominal. Rigging is in progress. Approximately 25 minutes until capsule lift. Stand by for PMC with SpaceX flight surgeon.
And so what we did just hear there was communications that those hypergol checks were complete. They didn't find any of that upon those checks, so we'll continue to move through the timeline. Next up is a process called rigging, which you see happening right now on your screen. This is when a SpaceX recovery personnel actually works to climb aboard the capsule and work through procedures ahead of lifting onto the nest of the recovery vessel Megan. We heard it's going to be about 25 minutes or so until that lift actually takes.
And in more news overseas, President Vladimir Putin has rejected an immediate and full ceasefire in Ukraine, agreeing only to halt his attacks on energy infrastructure following a call with US President Donald Trump. The Russian leader declined to sign up to the comprehensive month-long ceasefire that Trump's team recently worked out with Ukrainians in Saudi Arabia. He said a comprehensive truce could only work if foreign military aid and intelligence sharing with Ukraine came to an end. Ukraine's European allies had previously rejected such conditions. In the grinding 3-year war, Russian forces have recently been retaking territory in the Kursk region occupied by Ukraine 6 months ago. The results of Tuesday's Trump-Putin call amount to a retreat in the US position from where it stood a week ago, although the two leaders did agree that further peace talks would take place immediately in the Middle East. Now, when a US delegation met Ukrainian counterparts in Jeddah last Tuesday, they convinced Kiev to agree to their proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire across land, air as well as sea. President Zelensky, who arrived in Helsinki, Finland, for an official visit on Tuesday, shortly after Trump and Putin's call ended, said that Ukraine was open to the idea of a truce recovering energy infrastructure, but he wanted more details first. He later accused Putin of rejecting a ceasefire following a barrage of Russian drone attacks. Well, that's a wrap of this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown on TV1. I'm Therunee Karunaratne. Do join us tomorrow as well. Same time, same place, 7 a.m. on TV1 for more of the very latest from here at home and around the world. Until then, take care. Have a wonderful day ahead.